Hi guys, I'm meteorologist Lindsey Slater at WISN 12 News for Sharp Literacy. We are going to be reading one of my favorite books. This is called The Lorax, and it has kind of like an environmental twist to it, kind of weathery, but Chief Meteorologist Mark Baden took the book that I really wanted to read, but this is my second favorite Dr. Seuss book. So, all right, so let's talk about it here. I want to show you guys the first picture real quick, just so we can kind of see little Lorax guy. He's kind of cute, kind of looks like a puppy or like a weird fuzzy fish. So, okay, here we go with the Lorax. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was he there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere? And the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Once-ler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Once-ler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered moof. On a special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count, to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snoove, I think it's snoove, his secret strange hole in his groovyless gloove. Or it could be a glove. It's Dr. Seuss, who knows? Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, not an iPhone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Down sloops the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Once-ler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds if he had smallish bees up his nose. I know how that feels. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean. And the song of the swami swans rang out of space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the Truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the Truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees, I saw brown bear baloots frisking about in their bear baloot suits. And they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees just as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh buttery milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart, but I knew what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop, then I chopped down a truffula tree with just one chop. And with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, and I saw something pop out of the stump. That was the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. Well, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset and shouted and puffed, what's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A 𝘛𝘦 is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle sheets. The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There was no one on earth who would buy that fool 𝘛𝘦." For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the 𝘛𝘦 I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. That's a steal. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy." That's not nice. "You can never tell what someone will buy." You ever heard of a Snuggie? Yep. "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees. I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and my uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, this is a wonderful chance for the whole Once-ler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Niche. Turn left at 𝘓𝘓, sounds like a Milwaukee town. Sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Once-ler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting 𝘛𝘦s just as busy as beads, to the sound of chopping of Truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 Truffula trees in just one smacker. We were making 𝘛𝘦s 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he did not show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who play in the shade in their barbala suits. I'm happily lived eating Truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough Truffula fruit to go around. And my poor barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Once-ler, felt sad as I watched them go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. The biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons and the loads. The 𝘛𝘦s shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, and to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more 𝘛𝘦s, and I biggered my money, which everybody needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed, he sneezed and he sniffled, he snargled and sniffed. "Once-ler," he cried with a carufulous croak. "Once-ler, you're making a smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't swing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about the gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'm going to show you. You dirty old Once-ler man, you." "You're glupping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary." And then I got terribly mad. I got terribly sad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now here, listen, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on and doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering." It's in really big words. turning more Truffula trees into 𝘛𝘦s, which everyone needs. At that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack. That was from the axe of a tree, and we heard that tree fall, the very last Truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more 𝘛𝘦s, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts and everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. He gave me a very sad, backwards glance, and he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Though the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Once-ler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It truly is not. So, catch, calls the Once-ler. He lets something fall. It's a Truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last Truffula seeds, and the Truffula trees are what everybody needs. Plant a new Truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from acts that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that's it.